Hi guys, so with Lord Frost gone and a replacement on the horizon, at the time of the recording of this, Boris Johnson hadn't named any names yet, but it should happen sometime in January, I imagine. Where do we go from here? I, like many other commentators, have said that the UK will rejoin the EU eventually, but there are a number of steps along the way. The first one is likely to reapply to the single market and the customs union. Now, this point was reinforced by Lord Adonis when he was interviewed by LBC. First you'll hear the presenter, and then you'll hear Andrew Adonis explain what needs to happen.
Northern Ireland is still in the single market. The European Court of Justice has jurisdiction, a foreign court over UK territory. That is also unsustainable. This is the impasse that you describe. What's the way out of it?
The way out of it is for Britain to rejoin the customs union and the single market.
Okay, well, say that's not going to happen.
Well, it's because of that impossibility, Andrew, that Lord Frost has resigned. He's been conducting these negotiations now continuously since the summer. And it's been impossible to resolve the issue because you cannot at one and the same time have Northern Ireland and the customs union and the single market operating one set of trade rules, Great Britain out of the customs union and the single market operating another set of trade rules, and not have customs checks and bureaucracy between the two. So effectively the breakup of the United Kingdom. This has been the Achilles heel of Brexit right from the beginning in 2016, which is that the Good Friday Agreement requires there to be a completely open border, rightly, between the North and the South in Ireland. And that is simply not compatible with Great Britain leaving the customs union and the single market. And Lord Frost, rather than resolve this issue, because he's an extreme Brexiter, he's chosen to walk away.
Actually, I disagree with Andrew Adonis here when he says that Lord Frost is an extreme Brexiteer, or Brexiter. I don't think so. I think he actually, before the referendum, Lord Frost was supportive of remaining inside the single market and the customs union. I think he, along with many other Tories, jumped on board the Brexit bus because it brought them to sunlit uplands. It helped their career. That's why Lord Frost, he wasn't Lord Frost at the time, but that's why Lord Frost became a Brexiteer, for his own career, I believe. There's no ideological reason behind it.
And of course, he's left Boris Johnson holding the baby. And what Boris Johnson's now got to do is to adopt a pragmatic position. And the pragmatic position must be to negotiate a new trade and cooperation deal with the EU. He can call it something different than the customs union and the single market.
I agree 100% with this. Boris Johnson, if he has the right language, he can sell anything to Brexiteers, because Brexiteers don't really understand how the single market works, the customs union. They actually don't understand Brexit. So Boris Johnson could rejoin the single market, well, maybe not Boris Johnson at this stage, whoever replaces Boris Johnson, they could rejoin the single market and the customs union and sell it as something else. And the public would not understand the difference. And I think that is probably a pragmatic approach. Yes, rejoin and sell it as a new type of deal.
You can do things that make it politically easier for him to get off his hook, but we have got to get into an open and an unbureaucratic trading relationship with the European Union once again.
Well, the other reasons, the reasons that he actually did give Lord Frost for deciding to leave the cabinet is Plan B, and Lord Frost certainly not alone in Conservative ranks in objecting to that. And we saw on the vote on Plan B, was it on Tuesday, or was it Wednesday, 100 backbenchers saying, no, we don't like that. He was also talking about tax hikes, fundamentally unconservative, some would say, and the green agenda, which nobody seems to have costed particularly, but certainly looks like it'll make us poorer, even if the planet are better off.
I don't believe for a second that Lord Frost resigned for these reasons. Why? Well, because he's the Brexit Minister. And no MP has actually resigned over any of this. So, if Lord Frost truly cared about all of these things, he would resign from the House of Lords. Can you do that? I don't know if you can do that. But we haven't seen any other ministers resign over this. We haven't seen members of the Conservative Party leave the Conservative Party over this. So this is a pile of crap. Why did Lord Frost resign and use this excuse? Because he can't use the excuse of Brexit. He can't say, well, Brexit's not working, or Brexit was a disaster, or Brexit was a mistake, or I regret Brexit. He can't do that because he's responsible for Brexit. Of course, he's going to find some other excuse. It's quite handy that these things happened this week. The new rules for dealing with the pandemic. Oh, you don't like that. Or tax hikes. I'm a true conservative. I don't agree with tax hikes. This is just a way of him sneaking out. He understands that he can't go forward with this. Boris Johnson has been using Brexit as a cover. Whenever there's a problem, pull out the Brexit card. It's a life preserver for the likes of Boris Johnson. And I think Frost has become tired of that. And he's also realizing that, going forward, Brexit is going to get worse. And there's eventually going to come a day where I'm going to have to answer questions. And I don't want to. And I've said this before. Isn't it interesting that Lord Frost never really gives any interviews? He's never challenged on radio. He's never challenged on the BBC, on TV, Andrew Marr. I've never seen him interviewed. A government minister, unelected of course, never answering questions in the media. Isn't that strange? Anyway, Lord Frost is gone. Who is going to replace him? I don't know. Mark Francois, John Redwood, I don't know who. It'd probably be somebody who Boris Johnson can manipulate. If Boris Johnson is still there. Boris Johnson's on very thin ice at the moment. I don't know who'll go first. Or who will it be Boris Johnson leaving before a replacement is found for Lord Frost? But they need to replace him. He's a government minister. And Brexit is going to get much worse next year. I believe whoever takes it over is going to be handed a poison chalice because, new checks are coming in January. And businesses are under a lot of pressure. These trade deals are not helping the country. They're making Britain poorer. And, if we look towards the long term, the UK will have to, at some stage, rejoin the single market and the customs union. And that's going to be a bitter pill for Brexiteers to swallow. And whoever is in charge will have to be both a Brexiteer, because for political reasons, they'll have to be a Brexiteer, but they'll also have to be pragmatic, and they'll have to understand that, the way forward is not digging deep, is not digging your heels in and saying, no, we're not going to be pragmatic about this. We're not going to be realistic about this. We're going to maintain this position of, no, we are outside the single market and customs union because we need our sovereignty or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see who will replace Lord Frost. Let me know in the comment section, guys, who you think may replace Lord Frost. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.